Higgs, take a look at this.
My scans indicate that this is a high-risk area, mainly on account of it being a tyrannosaur's nest. Oh my.
Hi, I'm Rob Cram, and today we're taking a look at Crytek's Robinson the Journey, which is a PlayStation VR exclusive adventure game set on a mysterious and dinosaur-filled planet after lead character Robin crash lands as a sole survivor of the Esmeralda explorer and settler craft. As the name implies, the game is about solitude and survival, except players don't really get to experience anything of that nature because it isn't that type of game. It has to be said from the offset that the experience on offer here is very much a storytelling adventure, a VR version of a point-and-click game. You can freely move around the themed locations, but your interactions are rather limited, and there's no health or hunger bars to worry about either. Rather than being placed in isolation like Matt Damon's character Mark Watney in the movie The Martian, you're accompanied by a pet baby dinosaur and an AI companion called Higgs, who pretty much acts like another human being, complete with English butler-like voice. Also, before starting the adventure, there are options to tailor the movement, which means purists who like to use a right stick to look can do so, and those who are more sensitive to motion sickness can use a snap turn method. The walk speed is also relatively slow, which means it's not so hard on the stomach for those with lower tolerance levels. Your objective rests on finding out whether there are any other survivors on the planet, and to accomplish this you've got to hunt down other Higgs units and draw out their records. There's some minor puzzle solving thrown in to keep events interesting, alongside some rather neat climbing which shows off some great potential and offers tense moments later on in the game. Throw in a touch of stealth as well, and there's quite a varied list of activities you can embark on at your own pace. In fact, this is where the game shines really, as there's no pressure to do anything. If you want to just sit and marvel at the surrounds, then you can do that. Although on the flip side, if you are edging to get a move on, some of the objectives are a little vague, and often you'll look at Jarvis, Higgs, and hope he can offer some assistance. The main meat of the game rests on climbing up surfaces, scanning creatures, and simply being entertained like you've set foot in your own personal Jurassic Park story. In this regard, the game works thanks to some wonderful sound effects and ambience, alongside plenty of neat visual effects. It's not all plain sailing though, as sometimes it's hard to find the right position to grip onto predefined objects, and there's some moments where Higgs is required to provide power to certain items in a mini-game. The camera angles here can sometimes be a little awkward, requiring you to turn around, which isn't so good if you're playing seated. However, these are minor niggles alongside the vagueness of some objectives, and because there's no real danger or pressure or punishment for death, you can simply experiment until you find the right path. Visually, the game presents plenty of assets to bring the world alive, which it does very well. However, there is some low resolution imagery due to the hardware, but it's still good enough to create a feeling of being transported to another location. You'll see lots of foliage, plenty of critters and flying insects, which gives the game a completely organic flavour despite the backdrop of the massive crashed ship which looms in the background, or the debris from said ship littering the world. At some point you'll come face to face with the larger inhabitants of the planet, and these can be quite massive looking in VR, offering an impressive sense of scale. There's limited interactions here unfortunately, as the story dictates it's not really about interactions with dinosaurs outside of scanning them so they can be viewed in a model viewer. Audio, as mentioned, is top quality and has to be experienced via headphones for the full effect. There's excellent ambient sound effects from the creatures of the jungle as these surround the player at all times, which really helps in putting you in the shoes of Robin. The dialogue from Higgs is also encouraging and performed well enough. There's some other audio bites from the Higgs you collect, which unfold the story and are also performed as expected. In terms of longevity, the main game can be completed within 3 to 5 hours, but a lot of time can be spent simply looking at things or scanning the creatures. If you look at your objectives and trophy list, you'll also spot quite a number of things which can easily be overlooked when playing the story. So there's definitely some more time that can be spent either replaying it again or the free roam you have at the end of the story. At the moment, there's a bit of contention with the game's pricing in that for the UK market, the game is a full price title at just under 50 quid. In the US, it's much cheaper and can be purchased for $39, which if converted works out to just over 30 quid. So, something is amiss here and might be an error in the list price. As a full price £50 game, no matter how good the experience is on the first and perhaps only playthrough, the short playtime doesn't warrant such a high price, especially compared to other VR games which offer far more hours worth of entertainment. So if the price sticks, then it does come in as a hard recommend, unfortunately. However, at the more respectable £30 price point, it's worth the ride, but only just. The biggest problem with the game is its appeal, and whilst the idea of mingling with dinosaurs might appeal, it is at heart an adventure game and nothing more. Gamers expecting a VR version of Turok Dinosaur Hunter will be disappointed. In fact, the lack of survival elements means it's simply a theme park storytelling excursion, which in itself is limiting in appeal. For those who like subdued adventuring, then this is definitely one of the better VR games available, but for anyone seeking a bit of action, they need to look elsewhere. Robinson The Journey scores 8 out of 10. I'm Rob Cram, thanks for watching.